Today I'm gonna compare 4 countries and 4 of their capitals. I will compare Belgrade, Serbia, Warsaw, Poland, Amsterdam, Netherlands, and London, England. And what we're gonna compare is how much graffiti these countries have. So I was told that all European countries have graffiti, so we're gonna take a look and see if that is true. Now first we're gonna take a look at some graffiti here in the US. Now this is graffiti in New York. And whenever we see graffiti here in the US, we think of it being a very poor area and a lot of gangs and violence. As we see, these people don't look very wealthy. They look very poor. It looks like maybe they're even homeless. But that's something, I don't know, maybe they have some type of business. But from what it looks like, they don't look very wealthy, and there's all this graffiti everywhere. And here in the US, this is a picture from 2013, but we try and limit graffiti, so we'll like paint over graffiti so you can see this was painted white several years later, and there's no more graffiti. And so let's take a look at Belgrade first. Let's zoom in here, and we'll take a random place like right there. Okay, so the first thing I see is there's a bunch of graffiti like right there. I mean, there's some graffiti here. I mean, Belgrade is full of graffiti everywhere. Like, I'm not sure what all this means in Serbia. But like, if we saw this in the US, it'd be like we have to stay away from these areas because they're not good areas. Because good areas in the States don't have graffiti. And look, there's graffiti. Everywhere you look, there's graffiti. Okay, graffiti there everywhere. And it doesn't seem like it's painted over. It looks like this was painted. Everywhere there's graffiti, and it doesn't even look nice. And look, it even says in English, children. Okay, there's graffiti everywhere. Well, this building doesn't look like there's graffiti. But there's a lot in Serbia, okay? Here's some, I think, that was painted over. But like I said, in US, it would be considered a poor area because there's a lot of graffiti. Okay, so let's look at Warsaw now. And we'll take a random area also. Let's maybe take a look here. Like right there maybe. Okay, looks like there's graffiti also. Okay, and it's ugly graffiti also. It's like really ugly. So I don't know, these areas might be poor areas also because there's a lot of graffiti, but then, you know, I'm not sure. But it does seem like there's a little less graffiti than in Serbia. Like, these buildings are nicely painted. And this is Warsaw. Okay, so it seems like Warsaw has less graffiti. And then let's look at London next. And we'll pick a random place in London. We'll pick like right there. Okay, so again, it doesn't seem like there's as much graffiti. Like, it doesn't seem like there's any graffiti here. Okay, let's pick one more place in London. Let's pick like maybe like right there. Again, I don't see like graffiti. So again, it seems like wealthier the area, the less graffiti there is. So Serbia is a little well, it's not as wealthy as London, and then I think Warsaw is wealthier than Belgrade. And see, so we don't see like much graffiti at all. Let's look at Amsterdam now. We'll pick a random place here in Amsterdam. And again, I don't see any graffiti here. Well, there could be a lot, but I don't see any. Let's pick one more place in Amsterdam just to be sure. Let's maybe go right there. Just a random place. Again, there's no graffiti. I don't see any graffiti anywhere. Yeah, no graffiti. Okay, so it looks like it's true that the more wealthier the area, whether it's in the US or in Europe, the less graffiti there is. Now here's some. That's very little though. That's very little compared to Warsaw and Belgrade. And sometimes there's graffiti under the bridges. Yeah, it looks like London has some under the bridges also. Okay, and then let's look at one more area. I want to look at take a look at Moscow, Russia. Because I did a video about Moscow the other day, and I was surprised that there's like no graffiti at all. It's like the cleanest city. Absolutely no graffiti in Moscow. Let's pick another place in Moscow just to be sure. Let's like zoom in here somewhere. Let's pick a random place. Like right there. Okay, again, there's no graffiti at all in Moscow. Let's pick one more place in Moscow. Let's pick right there. Again, there's no graffiti. There might have been graffiti, but it was painted over, it looks like. Looks like this place is not as nice as the other couple we've seen. But again, there's no graffiti. Oh, here's some graffiti on this truck. So this is the first time I've seen graffiti in Moscow, so it looks like there's some still. There might have been some there, but it was painted over. So at least in like some cities, when some people try to destroy the city with graffiti, they certain people go and repaint the buildings to make them look nice again. But in some cities, they just leave them as is. Like there's probably graffiti in there, and it was painted over, so it looks nicer. So that's my comparison, and to compare. Oh, here's some graffiti too in Moscow. So it's my comparison of the different cities and how much graffiti each city has. And like I said, like Belgrade and Warsaw seem to have the most. And one other city I've seen has a lot is in Romania. They have a lot. Yeah, see, look at all this graffiti. So it seems like it's Romania, and then it's Serbia, then Poland, then I think London, Moscow, and then Netherlands. So it seems like Netherlands has the least amount of graffiti, while Romania and Serbia have the most. Okay, so that's my review of the graffiti in certain countries and who has the most and who has the least.